Good morning. My boy and I were just out here taking our morning walk. We've been doing this for years. We walked the garden. He's been doing it with me since he was a baby. He's 5. It's a sweet special thing we've done. He's shown quite a bit of interest in the garden, and as long as he's interested, he's welcome in here with me. It's an opportunity for us to bond, but also for him and me to spend so much time outside together, so it's special. We were just out here taking our morning walk and picking some flowers for a wedding that I'm helping with this weekend, and I was noticing just how beautiful this patio garden is looking. In particular right now, it caught my eye, and so I decided that I would do a bit of an impromptu garden tour, show you what's going on. I guess we'll start right here. This little brick pathway I laid in the winter because we were spending quite a bit of time out here over the winter just doing some garden maintenance, and it's turned out so well. It has these hostas around it. I don't remember the name of these hostas, you guys. Honestly, I don't remember the names of most plants. I typically throw tags away. I'm not very good at keeping track, but these hostas are looking very, very good here. This hydrangea is an endless summer hydrangea. I'm so eager to see it bloom this year because although it's normally very reliable for me, unlike other microphylla hydrangeas, which are not reliable, the endless summer, because it also blooms on new wood, typically blooms for me despite a frost. But last year it must have gotten hit really hard. I think it happened twice in a row, and so it did not bloom until sometime in like August or September. It was bare little sticks all year, and so I'm very eager to see the fullness of it this year. The star of the show here is definitely the alliums. That's mostly what I wanted to show you. Tulips have come and gone, daffodils have come and gone. The next bulb in the succession of bulbs in here is the allium, and it is doing very well. I've had these alliums here a while. They've not spread themselves as much as I would have wanted them to. I think this is purple sensation. In another area I have them, they've multiplied quite a bit, whereas these ones haven't multiplied as much, but that's okay. I still think they're beautiful. Next year I'll just plant more. Very, very pretty. One plant I was observing the other day, and I was sort of praising because it's been a quiet champion in here, and that is this Gardinia, again, whose name I don't know. But you know, this little plant is always reliable. It's evergreen, it's beautiful, and it has incredibly scented flowers. I mean, if you've ever smelled a gardenia, you know what I'm talking about. But it's just been like very modestly here. It never makes a fuss, and I just sort of depend on it, take it for granted really. But I was just thinking, this is a very good plant, and I should figure out what it is. I think I have the tag somewhere. I'm gonna figure out what it is and plant a few more of it because it's pretty reliable in my own garden. Some of these irises in here are going out of bloom. These are repeat blooming irises, and you guys, I have to tell you something. It's a bit of a confession. I don't know how I feel about repeat blooming irises. You would think I'd be thrilled, but there's something about seeing irises blooming in late summer or in early fall that just doesn't seem right somehow. Does that say something about my personality? Maybe I don't like, I'm a bit of a traditionalist or something. I don't know. Is that what it says? But you would think I would love it, but something about it messes with my head. I'm like, no, you're only supposed to be blooming in spring, not summer. I bet that's how people felt about roses before, when repeat blooming roses were first introduced, but now I couldn't imagine planting a rose that just blooms once. I guess I'm saying some plants, like roses, did not always repeat bloom, or some don't. Was there a Vanessa around the time where breeders were creating repeat blooming roses, that was like, no, repeat blooming roses are not a thing. Anyway, I feel like that's how I sound when it comes to the iris, blooming iris. I want to like it. It just messes with my head a little bit. A little peek into my mind. This is a lilac tree shrub that I was hoping to limb up as a tree, but it's given me quite a bit of trouble. And having lived with it for a little bit, I want to move it. I'm rethinking it. So the initial idea of planting the lilac here, it didn't have to be a lilac, but some sort of tree that I could limb up here, but that would stay relatively small, like a shrub, was that the patio gets quite a bit of sun in the morning. Now it's about 8. You can't tell it's getting a lot of sun because right about 9 is when the sun really hits it, and then it stays in the sun till sometime around 3. Not the whole of it. You can imagine that the back of it gets in the shade first, and then it gradually becomes more and more shady, but it's in quite a bit of sun. And I wanted a tree here that would help to shade it until it could get shaded by the house. However, these 2 windows are my kitchen windows, particularly this one directly in front of us behind the egg chair, and it has a direct line of sight to my son's play area, and I want to be able to see him from the kitchen window. And so having a shrub here that would get large enough to shade the patio would obstruct my view of the play area, and I don't want that. And so I'm rethinking things. Over there I planted a rose tree, and so I think that's what I'll end up doing here as well. We'll be moving the lilac in the fall and replacing it with a rose tree, I think. This past winter, I realized just how sad my green landscape was. My evergreens, I just didn't have a ton, and I didn't love it. And so I added quite a few shrubs in here that I bought on sale right after Christmas, right? Like a lot of these stores brought in these evergreens to use as Christmas plants. Let me move out of the way. To use as Christmas plants, and they discounted them pretty heavily at Christmas, 50%, sometimes 75% off, and I bought quite a few and planted them around the gardens everywhere. And I'm very thankful for that, because a lot of these things are helping to fill in the garden. This is one of them in this pot. This peony is going to be opening up here soon. That's exciting. You could see the weeds. You could see the grass weeds I need to come pull out of here. This salvia is just a fantastic salvia for us. My boy, look at this. This is toys, random things my boy likes to play with. But we've been dividing this salvia and moving it everywhere. It's over there. And now we are here. I was trying to catch this tour before it became dappled shade here, but that's okay. That's okay. It's fine to show it with the proper lighting. This Oakleaf hydrangea I planted like 5 years ago. It's the best thing. It's so good, and I'll have to show it to you again in bloom. It's a variety that remains relatively small for Oakleaf hydrangeas. At this point it's at maturity, and I don't expect it to grow much more than this. This is it a peace rose standard? I have the tag here. Let's see. It is a peace rose standard, and the deer came. I deal with quite a heavy deer pressure. The deer came and gave it a nice prune for me after I had already pruned it. Ooh, on the very front of these beds is catmint, Walker's Low, that I divided. So they're tiny. That's okay. They'll put on quite a bit of growth here. I cannot believe how incredible alliums are. I think this is Purple Sensation, by the way. I don't think I mentioned which one it was. Planted them years ago, and some are doing better than others. By that I mean that some each have some have spread themselves out. Not spread themselves out, what's the word I'm trying to say? They have plump up, like the bulbs. They've divided themselves, and some of the clumps that I planted that were just 1 or 2 are now producing like 9 or even 12 flowers. I have some more in that circle flower bed where the fountain is. I'll have to give you a tour of that later. Last thing I want to show you here is this planter with a rose. This is a pretty in pink Eden. I bought it from a local gal. I bought 3 roses from a local gal recently with these cute little tags and everything. And I defoliated it. This was about 3 weeks ago because I don't think she had gotten around to doing so. And it just flushed back, and I'm very pleased with it. So that is the latest addition to the patio, and I was able to pick up those, I say those planters because there's one in the front with another rose that I bought from her. I think that one is a David Austin rose. I'm drawing a blank on the name. But this is a little arrangement left over from some arrangements that I made recently. It's been sitting on the patio here for the last 5 days, just giving us a lot of enjoyment as we eat our breakfast and dinner. It's been sweet having it, and the roses they've held up well. These aren't my own roses. They are roses from the grocery store. They were discounted roses, but everything else is, oh, not the mums. The mums are also discounted from the grocery store, but the greenery and the euphorbia in here is from the garden. We'll come back here for a second. This is the baptisia we were talking about earlier. I have this trellis. I'll have to make a tour where I talk specifically about how I use special garden random thrifted items in my garden. But this, we were traveling through what were we traveling through? Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm in Virginia, and I stopped at the Salvation Army and found this, what they call a plate rack. I mean, you can see in here, hold on, I'm sorry, I hope I'm not making you dizzy, but I'm trying to show you this. You can see in here where there's a space, I guess, for plates to go, and it was nice and tall and lovely. And the lady said that they had just brought it out, and it was $12 and it's iron. And I thought, you know what, I mentioned earlier when I was talking about the rose that I purchased from a local gal, I had purchased 3 of them, 3 climbers, and right here I had put this one, which is the rose polka. It is an orange rose, and I just defoliated it the other day, which is why it's not leafed out. And I thought, you know what, I need something for polka to climb on. And so my husband and I modified it, and here it is, an obelisk for polka. Anyway, I could go on, but I won't. Thank you guys for hanging with us. I'm very, very pleased for this little garden. I'm very, very pleased with this little garden. I'm very, very pleased with this little garden. It's brought us quite a bit of joy, more so than in previous years, because last year, due to unforeseen circumstances, the gardens kind of got away from me. I was pregnant last year, but that wasn't the reason. There was other stuff. Look at my boy. He's ready for me to come in. So I am going to let you guys go. I hope you enjoyed this tour. Have a good day.